Willow was pregnant. And yet, right as I received her prenatal checkup report, she also sent me a lewd photo taken in bed. She said, "I slept with your best bro, and I'm carrying his child." Honestly, it felt amazing. I was speechless. Before I could even process what I was reading, a stream of comments popped up like a live chat. "That's a lie, she didn't sleep with him. The baby's yours. She just wanted to make you jealous. What's wrong with that?" "Exactly. You're always working, ignoring Willow all the time. She just wants your attention. She needs you to put work aside and spend more time with her. What's wrong with that? All she wants is a reaction from you. Say something like, 'Even if the baby's not mine, I'll still raise it if it's yours.' That's all she wants, unconditional love." I wasn't interested in figuring out whether it was true or not. Instead, I opened a browser and searched, abortion pills. Chapter 1. The comment section that had been urging me to stay calm went into meltdown. "The baby's innocent. This is way too harsh. Man, come on. She only did this because she loves you. What's the big deal in apologizing? Poor Willow. How'd she end up with a male lead who acts more like a toxic ex?" I'll say it again, she loves him. She'd never really sleep with anyone else. I ignored them and put my phone back in my pocket. Willow just happened to walk up and stop in front of me. She asked, "Why are you here at the hospital?" I pinched the bridge of my nose and said, "Didn't sleep well. Headache." The photo and the message she sent had left me sitting on the couch all night like a statue. I called her countless times, she never answered. According to the chat, Willow had also stayed up all night. She sipped red wine gracefully while listening to my ringtone again and again, waiting for it to ring, then letting it auto-decline. She was enjoying the fact that I was frantic, worried, hurting over her, as if that was the only way I could prove I cared. Hearing my excuse, Willow's lips curled into a smug little smile, like she was handing me a reward. She said, "Fine, I promise I won't spend the night out anymore." I didn't respond, just rubbed my temples. I was about to walk away when I noticed she was staring straight at me, like she was waiting for something. "Hug her." The comments screamed. "Tell her you were jealous. Tell her it hurt to see her in another man's arms. Say you'll raise the baby, even if it's not yours." Look at her eyes, they're practically sparkling. She's just waiting for you to say it. I took a deep breath, pretended not to see any of it, and kept walking. Suddenly, Willow tugged at my sleeve and pouted. "George, don't you have anything to say to me?" I stared at her. "What do you want me to say?" She got angry. "Are you made of stone? Sometimes I just want to crack your chest open and see what's in there. Now's the time, bro." The comments chimed in again. "Tell her it's all her in your heart. That might actually work." With no expression, I pulled out my phone, opened the chat history, and held it up to her face. "I should be asking you, Willow, what exactly are you trying to do?" She froze for a second, then scoffed and said, "It was just a punishment for losing a game of truth or dare. But hey, here's the good news, I actually am pregnant." I cut her off. "Did it ever occur to you how I feel?" She frowned. "What's with you? I already told you, it was just a stupid dare. You don't have to act like this." Chapter 2. On the third day after our ugly fallout, Willow posted an update online. His friend was holding an umbrella for her, while she tilted her head playfully and made a peace sign. The caption read, "A man who loves you will show up whenever you need him." I put down my phone and buried myself in work. I still had urgent matters to handle. These tasks had to be done fast. Live comment chat started going off again. What the hell is wrong with the male lead? Still working at a time like this? Is he really choosing his job over his wife? She loves him so much, and he's so indifferent. He really doesn't deserve her. Honestly, all the male lead has to do is admit he was wrong, then it's over. What's so bad about a happy little family of 3? Is it really that hard to admit you're just jealous? I nodded calmly. Sure. Suddenly becoming a dad out of nowhere is kinda hard to process. Just then, Willow's best friend suddenly called me. Her voice was frantic. "George, come quick. Something happened to Willow." There was a loud crash on her end, like a bottle shattering. She gasped, and the line went dead. I rushed to the location she'd sent me. As I approached the private room, I could already hear the laughter from inside. A woman said, "Come on, Willow, it's been forever." "That workaholic George, he's not coming." Someone else chimed in. "George simped after Willow for over 20 years before she finally gave in. You think he's not gonna show up?" A guy responded. He didn't even react to Willow's post earlier. "Anyway, Willow, you lost the bet. So don't back out. You promised to make George hand over the East Suburban Project." The East Suburban Project. I worked myself half to death on it for a whole year. Even when I had a fever, I was still going to the office with 4 drips just to keep it on track. And now she wanted me to give it away over a stupid wager. Through the crack in the door, I saw Willow biting her lip, staring anxiously at her phone screen. The moment I pushed the door open, everyone looked up. Some looked disappointed, some looked surprised. Willow actually let out a quiet sigh of relief. With a smug little snort, she said, You all lost. Designer handbags, necklaces, and luxury jewelry were laid out on the table. Willow smiled faintly and said, "Please, I already have this stuff. Like I care." One of her friends said, Yeah. You've got a husband who worships the ground you walk on. We get it." Another snarked, "Keep acting like that and don't come crying when George finally has enough." Willow pouted, and then, as if to prove a point, she suddenly grabbed Makoto by the neck and started kissing him passionately. Then she beckoned me with one finger. Live comments popped up again. She just wants to see George punch Makoto for her. Do it, man. Don't chicken out. Honestly, don't you think the female lead is being way too dramatic? Willow's already married. She's about to become a mother. Another user fired back. You don't get it. This is love. Okay, if George weren't so emotionally constipated, she wouldn't have gone this far. Why do you think she waited so long to even let George touch her? We've been married for a year, together for 3, but it wasn't until 2 months ago that she let me touch her for the first time. So, how could that even be possible? My brows furrowed, my fists clenched slightly. They were all waiting for me to blow up in anger, to humiliate myself begging Willow to come home, but I didn't. I just looked at her quietly and said, "Willow, how old are you? Could you stop being so childish?" Then I turned around and walked away. Chapter 3. After 2 weeks of a Cold War, we were finally one signature away from locking in the project our company had worked an entire year on. But on the day of the business dinner, Willow showed up uninvited, with Makoto in tow. She said, "Makoto just joined the company. Once the project is signed, let him use it as practice." Makoto gave me a smug smile. "George, looks like we can be friends again, like before." I felt a pulse throbbing hard in my temple. Back in college, Makoto and I had been close, until I found out he got close to me just to get to Willow. Ever since I married her, he'd been a thorn in our relationship. Wherever he was, trouble followed. Just as I was about to lose it and kick them both out, the client arrived. I forced a deep breath, plastered on a smile, and greeted the client and his wife politely. As we drank, I went around offering toasts, but Willow suddenly dropped her chopsticks and sat there with a cold expression, as if the client owed her money or something. Live comments flooded in. "Oop, she's jealous again. Hubby's out here toasting another man's wife." "Girl, that's the client's wife. Don't make it weird." I stayed composed and kept talking business. The client saw I had both competence and humility. After 2 drinks, he laughed heartily. "President Wong, your team's design this time is innovative and impressive. You've got a strong character too. Cheers to a fruitful collaboration." I raised my glass, feeling a surge of confidence. Then, a loud gasp. Willow threw her wine right into the client's face. "I'm not some bar girl here to pour drinks," she snapped. Then she cast me a disdainful look, like I was beneath her. I clenched my teeth and forced myself not to explode. Quickly bowing, I apologized to the client, offering tissues to help him wipe off the mess. Makoto grabbed my arm and said, face dark, "George, your wife's this upset and you're not even trying to comfort her. You're siding with outsiders." The client stood up, face cold. "President Wong, I think we'll be withdrawing from this partnership." In that moment, it felt like I'd been thrown into an ice pit. A whole year of effort, gone. I collapsed into my chair. Makoto kept piling it on. "Good riddance. Just cause you've got money doesn't mean you can treat people like dirt. Honestly, George, you were out of line. Your wife was upset, and you went and apologized to someone else. If it were my wife, I'd always take her side, no matter what." He turned to Willow. "Don't be mad, Willow. I said it for you." Burning with rage, I stood up and slapped Makoto across the face. "Get out." His face instantly turned red and swollen. He gritted his teeth and said, "Tough truths are bitter medicine, honest ADV." I didn't let him finish. I backhanded him again. Just as I was winding up to finish the job, Willow rushed over and blocked me. She stared at me, eyes wide, full of disbelief and fury. Her voice trembled. "George, why did you hit him?" Chapter 4. We locked eyes for a long time. I looked at her blankly. "Numb," I said. "Willow, the project the entire company worked a year on, gone. Are you satisfied now that you've seen me lose it?" She wasn't. She asked again, "Did you hit him for me, or for the company?" I was speechless. I pinched the bridge of my nose, forced myself to stay calm, and answered, exhausted, "For the company." She got even angrier, her voice icy. "Then go marry your job." Makoto came to comfort her. "Willow, don't let this get to you." She looked at me for a long time. Then she said, "George, do you know why I got close to Makoto? Because he knows how to comfort me. He gets jealous for me. He respects women. He cares about my feelings. He thinks about me." I felt hollow. With a hoarse voice, I replied, "Then be with him." Willow got furious. She shouted, "George." I looked at her calmly and asked, "Willow, what do you really want?" Live comments scrolled across the screen again. She wants you to apologize. She wants emotional value. She wants your feelings to revolve around her. George, she just loves you too much. She's insecure. Try to understand her. She doesn't say it, but deep down she's hurting. Every night she watches you stay up working, curled up alone, thinking, why isn't my husband with me? Does he not love me anymore? Someone else commented, are we really ignoring how much she's torturing him? All because she feels insecure. I couldn't take it. Willow looked like she wanted to say something, but held back. Then in a soft voice, she said, figure it out yourself. I didn't respond. I just stood there, thinking, love? Maybe there had been, once. Now, all I wanted was to escape, and whether or not she loved me, I didn't care anymore. Watching their backs as they walked away, I pulled out my phone and dialed my lawyer. I want to draft a divorce agreement, I said. We'll go over asset division at the office tomorrow. Chapter 5. When I got home, I collapsed on the bed, completely drained. The comment stream surged. No way, if they really get divorced, the female lead's going to lose half her life. She loves him that much. Another comment read, Willow's pregnant. Can't he just hold back a little for her? I really don't get what the male lead's insisting on. She's staring at her phone, just waiting for him to comfort her. I shut my eyes and ignored the comments. I was just so tired. I wanted nothing more than to sleep. After I woke up, I calmly ate my meal. At noon, I chatted with my dad. He asked, George, did you two have a fight? I was a little taken aback. He said, no fight between husband and wife should last overnight. Just say something nice to coax her, and you'll patch things up. Women are emotional creatures. Once she becomes a mom, she'll learn to be more mature. I put down my phone and asked, so you and mom had a pretty good relationship? Huh? My dad was speechless. He's from the old generation. He always believed that in a marriage, a man should yield to his wife, tolerate her moods, and tend to her feelings. He thought that fearing your wife was a sign of love, and a husband's earnings were meant to be spent on his wife. So, even though he and my mom married for business and had no emotional foundation, he never held back in giving. He treated her like a treasure, bought real estate and made investments in her name, and for a time, they lived in harmony. But things took a drastic turn once she got pregnant. Her demands became non-negotiable. Her temper, unrestrained. She started threatening him with divorce or abortion over the smallest things. After I was born, I became her bargaining chip. No matter how much he compromised, she grew increasingly contemptuous of him, with mounting demands. In the end, she even forced him to get her immigration papers, so she could run off abroad and live a carefree life with some boy toy. My dad said, Willow's different. That girl really likes you. I lowered my head and let out a long sigh. I said, but Dad, why should I? I thought. I'd been with Willow for 3 years. She'd only grown more difficult over time. I'd been the one doing all the comforting for 3 years. Even the first time we slept together, she had the nerve to say, well, since you love me so much, I guess I'll agree. Begrudgingly, I carried the entire company on my back while constantly catering to her emotions. It's ridiculous. I have my own life. I'm not interested in playing the simp. The marriage has to end. Chapter 6. The next day at the office, the corporate lawyer handed me the divorce agreement. He said, Mr. Wong, given the complexity of the asset division, we'll need to draft a separate property settlement. The Wong and Liu families are both major corporations, deeply intertwined, so I wasn't surprised. I asked, how long will it take? He replied, 3 days. I nodded. Just then, things got noisy outside. Willow walked in with a frosty expression. She said, fire that manager of yours and promote Makoto. The lawyer quietly excused himself. I kept my head down and focused on work, ignoring her. She sat at my desk and snatched the folder from my hands. She didn't even look inside, unaware it was the freshly printed divorce agreement. She tossed it aside and rested her chin on her hand. Gazing at me, she said, George, Makoto just joined. A lot of people aren't convinced by him. I want to help him out. The comment stream chimed in. She's trying to provoke him. She waited all night for him to show up and comfort her. Poor girl couldn't even sleep. 2 stubborn rocks smashing into each other. No one wants to give in. It's driving me crazy. Don't be mad, George. She's just using this as an excuse to come see you. She misses you so much. I let out a cold laugh and said, last time, he botched a whole project. The entire company had to clean up his mess. And now you want him promoted? Willow, what gives you the right? She stared straight into my eyes and shot back, because he has me. She wanted to see something on my face, but I didn't give her the satisfaction. I said, then you two can go start your own thing together. Willow's expression darkened. She frowned and said, George, I'm your wife. You're telling me to go work with another man? I smiled. Isn't that exactly what you want? I'm just helping you out. Face flushed. She shot back. Fine. Don't you dare regret this. Chapter 7. That very day, Willow left, taking half of the company's tech core with her. Announcement: new company launched. Please support us. Makoto held shares. Willow leveraged her connections from the Liu family. All the projects related to Liu Corp were snatched back overnight. They even didn't hesitate to compete with me for international markets. And those tech leads, definitely worth their title. The moment the product was revealed, our foreign partners flocked to them, leaning against a pillar. Willow looked quite pleased. She said, "George, after all, I'm your wife. If you just say the word, I might consider forgiving you." I turned to leave, impatient, completely uninterested in playing along. Thanks to her, the current Wang and Liu corporations were now in full-blown polarization, which made the asset division much simpler. The Liu veterans who came over were taken away by her too. So I didn't have to worry about any backstabbing down the road. Once the asset split was finalized tomorrow and I handed over the divorce papers, we'd officially have nothing to do with each other. Suddenly, Willow grabbed my sleeve tightly, her tone irritated. "George, don't push it too far, or I really won't forgive you again." The comments lit up. Finally, the female lead isn't being so stubborn. She gave him an out. "Come on, male lead, take the hint and reconcile already. She's been crying herself to sleep these nights, torn apart after leaving you. This is the perfect chance to patch things up. Just be a little more generous, man." I looked back at Willow. There was hurt and hope in her eyes. Maybe the old me would have softened, but now, I didn't care in the slightest. Seeing I didn't respond, she grew more furious. She snapped, "I already gave you a way out and you still won't take it. Do you really want a divorce?" Tension was rising, and then Makoto rushed over to comfort Willow. He said, "Don't be upset, Willow. It hurts me to see you like this. George is just being stubborn. I'll talk to him for you." I was speechless. Willow looked at me, eyes full of disappointment. Then she looked at Makoto with affection and said, "Just look at Makoto, then look at you. What kind of man are you?" "I'd had enough," I said. "Then divorce it is." Chapter 8. The air instantly froze. Willow stared at me in disbelief. She asked, "Do you even know what you're saying?" "Divorce," I repeated. Her lips pressed into a thin line, emotions raging in her eyes, on the verge of exploding. Makoto's smugness practically overflowed, though he still tried to play the role of the concerned friend. He said, "George, not to call you out, but you've really gone too far. You think Willow's easy to bully. Don't assume she won't actually go through with a divorce." He glanced at Willow after speaking. Comment section. "This scumbag's still trying to stir things up. Please don't fall for it. Main couple." Willow bit her lip but held back her temper. After a moment of silence, her tone softened. She said, "George, I won't argue with you anymore. Just admit you were wrong, and I'll forgive you." The comments exploded again. No need for a divorce. She practically admitted defeat. Close enough. Let's call it even. She's already backing down. What more does the male lead want? Ugh. I want sweet moments, not this mess. I was sick of the comments, and sick of Willow. I took 2 steps back, ready to leave. Willow burst out, "George, you better not come crawling back to me." Then she grabbed Makoto and kissed him. After going home, I called a moving company. All my belongings were transferred to my private residence overnight. When morning came, I went straight to the office to find the corporate lawyer. Once I got what I needed, I headed straight for Willow. Chapter 9. Willow was venting to her friends, who were busy comforting her. One of her girlfriends said, "Willow, seriously, with your looks and status, why worry? 3-legged frogs are rare, but 2-legged men are everywhere. You've got guys lining up to chase you. Why cry over a guy as emotionally clueless as George?" Willow shot her a glare and snapped, "Get lost." I stood at the doorway but didn't go in. Another chimed in, "You don't get it. Willow and George grew up together. Their bond isn't something just anyone can compare to." Sophia handed Willow a drink and joined in. "Willow, don't stress. George has been following you around like a lost puppy since grade school. He's been head over heels for you forever. There's no way he'll really divorce you. Besides, remember when his Wang family had that financial crisis? It was your Liu family that saved them. He wouldn't dare." I'd known since childhood that I was going to marry Willow. Back then, she was proud, but not unreasonable, and had zero patience for cheesy self-help quotes. She even stepped up during my family's worst moment. She once told me, "George, no matter what happens, I'll be right by your side." But then she made these friends, got close with Makoto, and everything changed. She became temperamental. We fought all the time. I bit my tongue for 3 years, for her, and for the Liu family. But the woman standing in front of me now, she wasn't the one I once knew. I should have woken up long ago. Sophia continued, "Just based on that alone, George should spend his whole life paying you back. If he doesn't, people ought to call him spineless." Willow's expression softened a little, clearly thinking I wouldn't dare divorce her. I pushed the door open, and all eyes turned toward me. One friend exclaimed, "See, there he is. You didn't come home all night." George was probably worried sick. Willow's lips curved ever so slightly, though she kept up a cold front. She asked, "What are you doing here?" I glanced at Sophia without replying, walked forward, and was about to hand Willow the divorce agreement and the asset division documents. One sharp-eyed girl caught the word property on the folder. She said, "Whoa, he brought the assets too. He must be here to beg forgiveness. Now that's commitment." Willow rolled her eyes and leaned into Makoto's arms. She said, I can't stand emotionally dense guys who can't communicate properly. But, since you've been miserable all night and came running here to apologize, I might consider giving you another chance." Makoto interjected. "Willow, if you forgive him too easily, he'll just walk all over you again. Let me give him a piece of my mind." Willow's pleased face collapsed instantly. In a fit of spite, she said, "George, come apologize to Makoto, settle our tab, and I'll go home with you." The comment section was more anxious than I was. "Girl, stop, he's clearly made up his mind about the divorce. She's really digging her own grave this time. I'm not rooting for her anymore." I sneered, slapped the divorce papers down in front of her, and said, "Sign it." Chapter 10. The bold words divorce agreement stared her in the face. The smile that had been forming froze on her lips, and her face darkened instantly. After a long pause, she looked up at me, eyes wide with panic and disbelief. She said, "George, come on, there's a limit to jealousy. Just tear that up and let's pretend none of this happened. Okay." Her voice trembled, and her gaze locked onto mine. I opened the divorce agreement, pointed to the signature line, handed her a pen, and said, "Here, sign." The silence was suffocating. Willow looked like she was about to shatter. Suddenly, crash, she swiped a cup off the table, eyes red at the corners. She rasped, "I already said I'd come home. What more do you want from me?" I stared at her coldly. She looked down, avoiding my eyes, her whole body trembling. She stepped forward and clutched my arm, her voice shaking. "Okay. I get it. Let's go home." I shook her off and said, "Willow, we don't have a home anymore." Her hand jerked back, eyes brimming with tears. I bent down, picked up the divorce papers, then pressed the pen into her hand. She tried to pull away, eyes wet. "I'm not signing," she whispered. "George, the baby, it's yours. You can't just walk away from me. I'll stay away from Makoto. Let's go back, please." She lowered her head, whispering to herself in denial. I just found it laughable. I've never been someone who blindly believes in others, not even the endless stream of comments. Everyone has their blind spots. Even those so-called observers can miss things. And what I saw was this: a wife who never once let me touch her, suddenly turned proactive, and just like that, she's pregnant. I said, "Willow, just sign it. I don't want to get ugly. Let's end this with some dignity." With that, I stopped wasting time. I grabbed her hand and began guiding her to sign. Stroke by stroke, her fingertips turned white. A sorrowful aura clung to her as she resisted. The signature came out crooked and harsh, marred by her struggle, but it was still a signature. I turned to leave. She grabbed my sleeve, fingers tight with desperation. But Makoto came over and wrapped her in his arms, gently prying her fingers off mine. He said, "It's okay, Willow, let him go. You still have me." Chapter 11. Just as I stepped out the door, I heard Willow yelling from inside, "Get out. All of you, get out." Crash, bang. She was throwing things, shouting, "George, don't you dare regret this." A second later, a woman's scream rang out, "Willow, what's happening to you?" The comments poured in. "What's going on? Why is she bleeding? That's not right. Is it because she got too emotional?" I didn't look back. Once home, I called my assistant to go over the work schedule for the next few days. After a full day of work, I was completely exhausted. Just as I got home, Willow started calling. I didn't pick up. She kept calling. I muted my phone, showered, and went to sleep. The next morning, my phone was blown up, over 100 missed calls, countless messages. "George, come to the hospital. I'm in so much pain. Please. I'm all alone here. I'm scared to death. I can't take it anymore. George, where are you?" I glanced at the screen, then tossed the phone aside. My assistant had booked me a noon flight. I had no time to waste on her. Over the weekend, I was having lunch with Sophia when my assistant called. Apparently, Willow had gone online and accused me publicly in a desperate attempt to make me see her. I said, "Just do your jobs. Treat her like she's not even there." But the internet exploded with hate. One comment read, "He climbed to the top on a woman's back. Now that he's rich and powerful, he dumps his pregnant wife for a mistress. Men like this make me sick." Another said, "Ungrateful scumbag. I'll start the boycott. No more Wong Corp for me. Who would trust a product from someone like him? Count me in on boycotting Wong." I shut the webpage and closed my eyes to rest. But calls from the company's senior execs kept coming in. Clients were backing out. Projects blocked. Company image tanking. Stock price plunging. The corporate lawyer called. He said, Mr. Wong, the public backlash is spiraling out of control. Should we intervene? I answered flatly. No, let her stir things up. If needed, throw more fuel on the fire. Chapter 12. Within weeks, public opinion flipped upside down. In the end, I still went to see Willow. She said, "George, why didn't you reply to my texts? Why wouldn't you come see me?" Her face was pale and hollow. She couldn't hide how worn down she was. She said, "I was going insane looking for you, but thank God you came. Hubby, let's be good from now on. No more fights, okay?" Then she casually pulled a fruit from the bag beside her and handed it to me to peel. She said, "Hubby, I'm eating for 2 now. I need all the nutrition I can get." I quietly peeled the fruit without responding. She didn't seem to mind, smiling as she went on. "Oh right, let's name our baby," she said. "How about Joy? It means happiness. The 3 of us, living happily ever after as a family." She clung to my arm, eyes sparkling. "George, I'm so happy right now." I frowned slightly. From start to finish, I stayed cold, never even sparing her a glance. Yet she was lost in her own world, unable to tell dream from reality. The doctor came in and asked to speak to me outside, reminding me of the necessary precautions. Just as I finished talking to the doctor, I ran into Makoto. He smirked. "You can't win against me. Give it up." I said nothing. He went on. "I came into this world for Willow. She was always meant to be mine." I didn't understand his conviction, but I had no interest in arguing with him either. I said, "She's just a woman. If you want her, take her." He looked at me and laughed. He said, "Wow, look at you pretending to be chill. Your wife got stolen and you're acting all magnanimous." Then he mocked, "You're nothing but a cardboard cutout, and you think you can compete with me?" I didn't respond. Willow came out. Her face was ice cold, but her eyes were filled with pain. When she saw Makoto, her tone dropped to glacial. She said, "Get out." Makoto opened his mouth to speak, but before he could, Willow snapped, "Get lost. If you show your face in front of us again, I'll make sure you disappear for good." Makoto shot me one last hateful glare, then turned and left. Willow walked up to me silently and hugged me tight. She was trembling. After a long while, she let go and wiped her tears. I sighed. "Willow, the babies." She cut me off. "Hubby, I can't even eat your cooking here. Once I'm better, I want to eat your food every day for the rest of my life, okay?" She wanted to pretend everything could go back to the way it was, but I shattered that illusion. I said, "Willow, whether it was my child or not, the baby's gone. We can't go back." Chapter 13. Plop, a tear hit the floor. Willow forced a smile and said lightly, "It's okay. I can still have another baby in the future. It's fine." I looked at her and said again, "Willow, there is no future. Once you recover, we're getting a divorce." She froze, looked up at me, her eyes bloodshot. She said, "No, I won't divorce you." I turned away and replied, "It's not up to you." She said, "George, we've known each other since we were kids. You've liked me for so many years, you wouldn't really leave me. You're just mad right now, aren't you?" "I promise, I'll behave from now on. I won't make you angry ever again. As long as you don't divorce me, I'll do whatever you say. I won't even bother you while you're working. I'll do everything you want." She looked at me with eyes full of vulnerability and desperation, and under her hopeful gaze, I slowly shook my head. Her gaze shattered. She choked out, "But George, I love you. These days when you were gone, I kept replaying our memories over and over again. But every time I opened my eyes, I was alone. The person who used to be there for me was gone. That hurt more than dying. I just loved you too much. That's why I was so insecure, so desperate to prove you wouldn't leave me." I asked, "Did you ever think about how I felt?" She wiped her tears and whispered, "I'm sorry," I replied. "If you're really sorry, then be there on time for the divorce." Chapter 14. On the day we finalized the divorce, Willow showed up in a school uniform, trying to delay things by reminiscing about our school days and the sweet memories of our youth. But no matter how much she pretended, she wasn't that teenage girl anymore. Impatient, I said, "Can you wrap it up? I'm in a hurry." That single sentence stunned her. She went silent for a while, then her eyes turned red. She asked, "George, is there really no going back?" I looked at her coldly. She stood there frozen for a long time, like her feet were made of lead. I dragged her in, got the number, waited in line, signed the papers. She cried while signing. As soon as I got the divorce certificate, I didn't even look at her. I turned around and left. She chased after me. I got in the car, hit the gas, blasting her with exhaust fumes. Back at the office, I moved fast. Time to take control of the narrative. I released the bed photo Willow had once sent me, the chat logs where she talked about having a baby with Makoto, and Makoto's smug taunts. All of it went online. Willow had cheated. Makoto was the homewrecker. Once people saw the truth, public opinion flipped instantly. Comments flooded in. So we were used as tools the whole time. That scumbag wrecked someone's marriage and still acted like a victim. Gross. With a husband like that, this girl must have had her brain kicked by a donkey. George went through all that humiliation with such grace. Legend. I'm switching all my purchases to Juan Corp from now on. As the backlash escalated, Makoto and Willow became targets of public fury, the homewrecker and the cheater. Lewd Corp was hit with scandal after scandal. In just a few days, the entire company was on the verge of collapse. Even going outside, Willow couldn't catch a break. She'd get hit with rotten eggs. People filmed her and mocked her online. The once beloved heiress of the Liu family, always surrounded by admiration, had fallen face first into the mud. She was a shell of her former self. The day Lewd Corp officially declared bankruptcy, I saw Willow again. She looked worn out, but still smiled at me. She said, "Hubby, Lewd Corp's gone. I've become a rat on the street. Do you feel better now?" Chapter 15. I looked at her coldly. She stood pale and silent, eyes downcast, voice trembling. "Please, don't look at me like that, George. It hurts so much." Impatient, I shot her a glance, then brushed past her and opened the car door. When she saw Sophia in the passenger seat, Willow rushed over. She asked, "Is it because of her?" I replied, "Think whatever you want." Then I got in and shut the door. For the first time in a while, the comment stream popped back up. Poetic justice. She got exactly what she deserved. Didn't appreciate what she had. Spent all her time acting out, and now she's putting on an act. She leaned against the window, her eyes full of pain, choking on tears. She said, "Please, don't go." I hit the gas. The car roared to life, and Willow broke down. She sobbed, "George, I was wrong. Please don't leave me. You're all I have." She ran after the car in tears, only to be hit by a speeding motorcycle that came out of nowhere. A crowd quickly gathered, blocking her from my view. From that moment on, we were strangers. Half a month later, on my way to the office, I ran into Makoto, disguised head to toe. He had a bottle of chemicals in his hand and charged straight at me. He yelled, "I'm the real protagonist of this world. I have a system. If I destroy you, everything will fall into place." Just as the unknown liquid came flying toward me, a shadow leapt into its path. The entire bottle splashed onto Willow, her legs still limping from before. She winced slightly, but as if numb to the pain, she whispered, "Good thing I made it in time. Thank God you're okay." I immediately called the police and an ambulance. My heart was in turmoil, flooded with emotions I couldn't untangle. As she collapsed, she softly said, "George, whether you believe me or not, I loved you." Pinned to the ground by security, Makoto raged, "Willow, you crazy woman, you were supposed to love me. I came into this world for you. If I can't conquer you, I'll die." Willow, I'm the main character. Willow was taken to the hospital. Makoto was taken to jail. And me? I sat at the helm of a publicly listed company, commanding a fortune worth billions. Luxury cars and villas in my name, countless. I lived free, unbound. My father finally divorced my mother. With our wealth secured, we traveled the world, everywhere, anytime. The sun was shining. I smiled at the horizon. The final comment on screen lingered. As expected, a man who lives for himself is the most unstoppable of all.